All right, so check this out. Y'all tell me how y'all like these glasses. My oldest says that ain't it, Chief. My oldest, he does not like me to have these glasses on, but I'm gonna sport these jokers. I don't know if they're real or they're authentic. I don't know enough about this company whatsoever. I don't know if yeah, I don't know nothing about it. I mean, I got 'em. I've got them, and I'm feeling real hype right now with these bad boys on. Like I feel like, man, you know what I feel like? I feel like I am in Call of Duty Mobile. That's what I feel like. I feel like I'm in Call of Duty Mobile, like right now. I for real feel like I just need to pack my pistol, grab a sword, grab a blade, grab my AR, and I'm about to run through the game like crazy, right? First person, let's get it. No, I like this. This is crazy right now. You know, no, real talk, real talk. I feel like, you know what I mean? I'm on the sideline or I'm at practice right now. We walking into a game. We coming out of the tunnel right now. We coming out of the tunnel. I'm about to get on the sideline with my whistle and my clipboard, my iPad. We about to go over there. We gonna go through the play chart. Let's get it. We about to go out here. We about to win a championship. Man, tell me I'm not looking like I'm just ready to go. Got the headphones on too, right? Got the headphones on. All I need is the AR. I'm sniping. Pop, 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 pop. This is crazy. This is fun. All right, I'm wasting time. I'm rambling, but I'm excited right now because the glasses. Look. I never really see myself the way I see myself now. When I have them on, this is crazy. This is crazy, man. Thank God for video, right? Thank God for video because I can share this and people can see me and they can see how I'm so hyped up and why I'm hyped up. If you're listening and you can't see it, listen. Go find this episode. Just type it up in Google. Get the title of this episode, type it up in Google. I'm sure there's going to be pictures. I'm going to do everything I can to add some pictures so you can actually see this if you're not actually watching the video of this particular podcast. Anyway, so the weekend. Went to a game. Coming out of that has some interesting conversations, but while there had some interesting conversations and also overheard some stuff, just talking to parents. Just talking to parents because I do that. And what's awesome is when I'm sitting there, because I like to talk to psychologists, I like to talk to psychiatrists and people who are in the field. And I like to relay what I hear in those conversations to the psychologist or psychiatrist. Now, if they're present, then they have the opportunity to be a part of those conversations, which makes it even more interesting. The cool part is a lot of times they won't say anything. Now, because they have a relationship with me, it might come out then. They might say something then in a conversation with me off to the side or whatever. And I find that to be awesome. There's a lot of times where there's professors there and those professors will have conversations with me. My wife thinks I'm crazy because I talk to everybody. I really do, I talk to everybody. I build relationships like all over the place. And most of the time, the people that I build relationships with, my wife is just like, you two are like the most odd couple of people. We just look strange. And sometimes those people, they may be my senior by double digit years, and I'm talking like 20, 30 years sometimes, and we hit it off like we're just two youngsters just having great conversations, really intellectual, very high level conversations, but we get deep sometimes. And so that's when my wife, she might just kind of veer off. Now what's interesting is my wife, come on, she's a psych major, she's a psychologist herself, you know what I mean? So but because of where she is in her life and her profession, she's less of a psychologist. I think it's really deeply rooted in what she does on a day-to-day basis, but not from the standpoint of being in medical practice or in a clinical setting or anything like that. You know what I mean? But it's a really major part of her job. For me, I am always in that. I'm there all the time. Whether I'm coaching, whether I'm mentoring, it doesn't matter. I am literally always there all the time. So that's my thing. So when I talk to someone and I gather some information, the information that I'm gathering is being processed like I'm a psychologist, or from the standpoint of having studied psychology and continuing to study psychology to further my knowledge so that I can help out people who need help, or so that I can better process or better relate, better understand. Because the biggest thing, the most important thing that any of us can do is it's understand. A lot of times people get turned off because they feel like nobody's listening. Nobody understands them. They're not being heard. Their voice is there. It's vocal. It's out in the air, but they're not being heard the way they want to be heard. And for me personally, I feel like I have the responsibility from a professional standpoint, but the responsibility from a human standpoint to really do what I can to understand. Now, sometimes there's the issue of the language barrier, but even with that, it's also my responsibility to try to learn. There's the cultural aspect of it, so it's also my responsibility to try to learn there. The more I do that, the more I think that my network of people who I can sort of call upon just to have a conversation, an intellectual conversation, and not necessarily just to take, but also to give, because every person that I talk to, everything that I learn, I'm able to give back. I'm able to share that. I'm able to help relate what I've heard, what I've learned to their situation. And maybe they can walk away with it and actually do something with it, apply it to their lives, or even better, it helps them to navigate a issue or problem, a circumstance that they're going through, or it arms them with what they need to help someone else. That is huge. That's so huge. We want to be able to help as many people as we can. And the best way sometimes to help people is to, really have the tools, have those steps, or that knowledge that can help them get over that hump in their life, that mountain in their life, so that they can have that breakthrough. And we definitely want to be in a position, at least for me, I want to be in a position where I could do that, because I talk to so many people. My kids would always say, every time we go to this state, that state, just new places, I will take them. And there's always somebody there that either I know or they know me. They either know me from sports, or know me from business, or know me from, my books, or know me from something. Somewhere they know me. We played against each other. We played with each other. I don't know, but somehow, some way they know me. They know me from, music back in the days, or whatever, acting. They know me in some way, and they'll be like, "Hey, Ty, how you doing, man? What's up, man? Long time no see." And my kids will just sit there with their mouths open, like, "What in the, huh? We're like 80,000 miles away from home. Like, how does this keep happening?" But, it's always important to leave an impression on people. So let's get back to the conversations that I had, and some of the things that really sort of stood out to me that, I think we could talk about and really have some, gain some momentum on, and talk about some ways. And this goes with validation of individuals. And I was at a game, so specifically athletes, right? But individuals, athletes who, they have everything. They got all the tools. They have all the skills. They have all the ability. They have all the potential is insane. The ceiling is so high. It's crazy, right? They have the incredible work ethic. They have the knowledge. They're extremely smart, sometimes too smart, because they begin to overthink. They have everything. And then they have this cast of people and organizations behind them. I mean, like, just a litany of others who believe in them, who have assessed them, who see their talent, who know their potential. And I'm talking about people who have developed athletes and individuals on the highest levels, whether you're in your profession, at your job, I don't care if you are a preacher, you are going through to do your doctorate in divinity. I don't care what it is. You could be, working on becoming a professor at a university. You could be working to become a teacher, whatever, but you've got all these people, teachers, professors, everybody who are constantly assessing because they're grading papers, and they're listening to you present. They're hearing you talk. They're watching you in groups. They're seeing how you maneuver amongst all of these different tasks that they're putting before you. So they're seeing you come out on top all the time. However, When it comes to this specific thing, and I'm going to put it in the context of sports because I was at the game this weekend. When it comes to the sport, when it comes to what you do, what you've been doing your entire life, you've been playing this sport your entire life, and now you've got all these high-level individuals who have assessed Olympians, developed Olympians, professionals at the highest level, and they're saying, you got it. Oh yeah, that person right there, they got it. Their potential, insane. All they got to do is stay the course. Listen, they're going to continue to learn. As long as they're continuing to learn and they continue to grow and they're doing everything that they can, they are going to blow the ceiling off. They're going to skyrocket through the roof. And that person is doing exactly that. Let's say it's you. You're doing exactly that. You're doing everything you can. You're showing up on time. Not on time, you're showing up before time. You're at every workout. You're the first to get there. You're the last to leave. You're doing the most weight, maybe not the most weight, but you're doing it the most effective to get the best result. You're performing at a high level at practice. You're performing at a high level in the gym. You're performing at a high level in the classroom. You're answering all the questions. You're raising your hand. You're challenging the status quo. You're speaking up when everybody else is staying quiet. You're saying the unpopular word, but you know that that's what needs to be said, so you say it regardless of how everybody feels, but everybody in their mind knows that this is what they want to say, but they don't have the courage to say it. You stand up and say it, so you are a leader. However, when you step on the field, when you step in your professional environment, you, for whatever reason, don't believe you deserve to be there. You've put in all the work. You've proven to everybody that you deserve to be there. You, through your actions, because your actions have spoken louder than every word that you could ever speak. Your actions have said you deserve to be there. Yes, your actions have said you deserve to be there. But you look yourself in the mirror and you say to yourself, that after all these people have said and have shared and have made it known that you deserve to be there, you are the one. You are going to be this, you are going to be that. Long as you do exactly what you are doing, the ceiling, the sky is the limit. Your potential is limitless. The opportunities will pour out like rain for you, but you can't seem to get it through your thick skull that you are enough, that you do deserve to be there, that you are worthy, that you do contribute, that you are having a major impact. And that is rough. It's rough because the reality is a person will wake up in the morning and they go through beating themselves up with this disbelief that they didn't do enough, they didn't contribute enough. Why? Let me give you some examples. It could be that once upon a time, right, this person, where they came from, they were the end all be all. They were the superstar. They were the most dominant. They were the one that everybody feared. They're the one that everybody knew. If the ball was in their area, oh, they were going to get the ball. If they were on defense, they were going to take it. If they were on offense, then they were about to show off. Bottom line, they were the big fish in the little pond. When the big fish in the little pond jumps into the ocean, where there are a lot of big fish, sometimes it's difficult to adjust. And so rather than take a step back and realize that, guess what? It's like when you go to the NFL, you go to the NBA and things of that nature. Anybody can say, I laugh when I hear people say that, oh, that person right there, they're not good enough to be playing. Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. So you're saying that all of these people, all of these recruiters, all of these assessors, all of the folks that are involved in making that draft happen don't know what they're talking about, but you on the couch have the answer? Heck no, I don't think so. I don't believe that. I don't subscribe to that. You are out of line. You are out of pocket. Here's the deal. You jumped into the big ocean. And it just so happens that there are a ton of fish in the big ocean. You just got this promotion. Guess what? The people up there, they deserve to be there. They know what they're doing. They hit home runs. It might be that you replace somebody who they could no longer make it. They couldn't cut it anymore. But you were the person who was knocking down the wall. So they were like, man, we need this person right here to be on our team. So we're going to elevate this person. We're going to upgrade this person to this position right here. The same thing happens. Maybe you were a great club athlete. Maybe you were a great high school athlete. Maybe you were a great college athlete, but you get the opportunity to go play pro. From high school, you get the opportunity to get that college scholarship to go to the next level. That is awesome when you get that. Just remember, when you get there, you worked really, really hard to play with the big dogs. Now you got with the big dogs, and now you want to act like a puppy. I'm sorry, you are not a puppy. You're not a puppy. We believe in you. That was the whole reason that everybody made the call. This university called, that university called. They called from Florida. They called from Alabama. They called from Tennessee. They called from New York. They called from Wyoming. They called from Oregon. They called from Washington. They called from Montana. They called from Missouri. They called from Mississippi. They called from California. They called from everywhere to get you to come be on their team. Now, when they call from everywhere to come get you on their team, they're not doing that because they're like, we don't know. Heck no. They are competing for your talent, your ability, your potential, and what you bring to that team. They believe in you. They all believe in you. Now, you don't know where you are on the board. You might be number one on all of those boards, on every single one of those states, those universities, those pro teams, those businesses. You might be number one on that board to fill that position. You never know. Even if you're going through job interviews, you go through job interviews, it's a recruiting and they're interviewing a bunch of people. When they go through and interview all these people, they realize, dang, this person right here is shining. You are shining like crazy. But you go home and, you know, your spouse or your whoever, your significant other, your brother, your sister, your mother, your father is like, hey, so how did the interview go? You're like, I don't know. I guess we'll see. No, heck no. Your confidence should make other people uncomfortable. It should. Your confidence should make other people uncomfortable. Why? Because you put in the work to get there. First off, your resume was slamming. Your resume was on fire. If your resume was on fire and your resume got you the opportunity to get into the door, and then when you got into the door, you got that interview, and then you got invited to the next interview, and then you got invited to the next interview. Now you're on the final interview with the big panel, and you get to present. You are on fire this entire time. How dare you go home and cheat yourself out of an opportunity? Are you kidding me? All the work you put in, you don't keep going to the next level, going to the next level, going to the next level because I don't know. Heck no. You deserve to be there. And sometimes, listen. So for me as a coach, as a mentor, as a parent, I realize it's important to, one, listen to what that person is going through. Listen to their self-talk. When you hear them talk to you, you can get a better understanding of how they're talking to themselves. And sometimes they do need help with changing that conversation, changing the internal dialogue. And when you are in a position to help them redirect that dialogue and change how they're communicating with themselves, change how they're talking themselves down or talking themselves out of an opportunity, and help them to come up with some better affirmations that uplift them, that motivate them, that get them on, set a fire beneath them, that help them see, look back at everything that you did. Look at everything that you did. Let me tell you one of the things that I do with my daughter all the time outside of, I'm always bigging her up. You know, it's crazy because, you know, me, I realize I can be a handful. You know, I realize I can be a handful. I realize I may or may not, I don't know. I may turn people off. I don't know. Nobody's ever told me that. At the same time, though, I know I could have a strong personality. I walk around confident. And a lot of times I think that my confidence might turn some people off. And that's okay, because that just means that we're two people that probably shouldn't be on the same boat, because at the end of the day, it's like when my wife and I went to Hawaii, I'm like, hey, I want to go swim with the sharks. I want to go swim with the tiger sharks. All right. I'm seeing people swimming with sharks, and there are no there's no cage. I want to go down there and I want to do that. Whereas my wife is like, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not doing that. I'm like, okay, I want to go swim with the other nicer sharks. Then she was like, in a cage. You can go swim with the nicer sharks in a cage. I just want to go. Okay, let me get down in the sharks. I end up down in the water with the turtles. The turtles. Not to say that there are not some turtles down there that will snap your neck, your arm, your leg. Absolutely. Them suckers are strong. At the same time, though, for me, it's like my confidence. I want to get down there and I want to go. I want to get in there, man. Let's roll, you know? Is it risky? Heck yeah, it's risky. Well, listen, the greater the risk, the greater the reward. Right. So I know that I just went down there and I just did that. When I come out of that water, having that experience, my next one is, okay, cool. Let's go in the cage with some lions in Africa. You know what I mean? It's not, hey, let's just go walk around. Hey, look at that meat. That meat's walking around. It's pretty nice looking thick meat right there. Nah, I don't know that I'm ready for that one yet. But at the same time, I know that there are different types of people. And so, you know, sometimes those people can't be in the same room. But listen, when a person has put in a whole lot of work, they've put in a whole lot of work. Sometimes they need their family, their friends, their coaches, their mentors, others to remind them of what they did to get there and to help them connect the dots so that they can actually see, hey, you've put in the work. You've put in the work. This idea that you didn't have an impact, this idea that you're not contributing. No. This is why I love this saying right here, the eye in the sky never lies. And when you're playing a sport and you've got a camera on this side of the field, a camera on that side of the field, a camera behind you, a camera in front of you, cameras on the sides, cameras everywhere. And then you got some person or people running around with cameras as well every time at the snap of the ball or whatever. Listen, you've got so many cameras moving, and then you got the drones now. You've got so many cameras that are around you. You can see everything that you're doing, and you could also see everything that you're not doing. So I always tell everybody, and I know trainers and coaches alike, watch film, watch film, watch film. The more you watch film, you'll see your contribution. You'll see the mistakes that you made. You'll see the mistakes that you didn't make. Let me tell you one thing I love about mistakes. If you made a mistake during the game, you were on the field. You were on the field. So how can you say that you didn't contribute, right? If you made that mistake and you were still on the field after that play and the next play and the next play and the next play, nobody pulled you out. So clearly you were that mistake did not cause you to become a liability. It was a mistake. The greatest players in the history of athletics have made mistakes. Some mistakes were detrimental and they still played. They still had phenomenal careers. They still became legends. There are still people that we remember, and there are still people who talk about the great things that they did. Yeah, there's going to be people sometimes here and there that are going to talk about the mistakes. Who cares? It's over. You can't change it. Everything that I've said up to this point, I cannot go back and change. Sure, I can delete it and you never see it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put it right there in your face. I want you to hear it. If you disagree with it, that's cool. I don't care. You're not here. I'm going to keep it up here. I'm not going to take it down. I'm not cursing you out. I'm not offending you. And if I am, I'm sorry. Keep moving. Change the channel. We're going to have this dialogue. We're going to have this conversation because there are athletes, there are people, there are individuals out there that are struggling because they don't feel worthy. They don't feel good enough. They don't realize that everything that they did to get to where they are is deserving. It is exactly what they needed in order for them to get there. Here's one thing that I will throw at you though is if you've done all that work to get to that place, to get to the next place, you're going to have to do more. Now, here's the great part about when those individuals, those assessors, those great coaches, those great mentors say, if that person just stays the course and they continue to learn, then the ceiling is going to blow. Why? Because up to that point, everything that they've done got them to the point where now it's time to learn this new stuff to take you to the next level. So now you embrace the stuff. When you look in the mirror and you realize that for the last year, semester, summer, whatever it is, you've been showing up, showing out. You've been deliberate in terms of how you've been taking action. how you've been working, putting in the work. You've been going overtime. You've been doing the extra work. You've been working on your recovery. You've been keeping on top of your grades. You've been handling your reports. You've been doing what you have to do for your boss, whatever it is that you have to do inside the workplace. You've been performing on a high level. You've been maintaining the level of competition. It's not about them anymore. Now it's about you. Everybody's trying to step to your level. You've been doing it all. You have to look back and you got to say, dang, I've been putting in the work. It's okay to pat yourself on the back and say, man, I need a breather. Okay, now it's time to get back up and it's time to go. Go ahead and refuel. If you need to take a break, take a break. But you don't take a break for too long, because while you break, somebody else's wheels are turning. They're trying to figure out, hey, how am I going to get better? It's not always, how am I going to shut you down? How am I going to take you out? I'm going to pray for your downfall. It's not always that. It's not. It is not always that. Sometimes it's that person wants to get to the level that you are at too. They've watched you go from down here to now you've surpassed them and took off. You are the rocket that they watched from a distance. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You lifted off. They watched it. They saw you. The whole time they were stuck at 3. You came in at 0, at 5, below 5, and you took off. Now they're up. They're looking at you from the ground. You're a satellite in the sky. You're hovering over everybody. They're below your umbrella. You're calling shots and telling that's hitting their department down low. You're calling shots. Listen, you go in, coach calls a timeout, bring you out to give you a break, throw somebody else in from the side while you're drinking water, taking a break. You're throwing out some information and calling out plays and telling everybody else on the field what's going on. Back up, give them some room, cover, outside, line up here, line up there. You're doing that until you go back in. Now, that person just did everything that you told them to do. Great. Now, they're not a liability. You just helped them with their development. They get called off. You go back in. Now it's time for you to show up and show out one more time. You have that. You're there already. You're there already. You're there. You made it to that place. If that was sort of the precipice of where you wanted to go, if that was sort of the precipice of where you wanted to go, you were like, okay, I just want to go here. I don't want to go no further. I just wanted to get here. I wanted to get to this level and play here. Okay, you are there. Now that you are there, you have to show up. You have to show out. You worked your life to get to this place. Now you are there. Have fun. That's the other part. You worked really hard to get to this place so you can have fun. Don't let the fun. That's one of the things that happened to me. I think the fun, after a while, I started to lose that, where I wasn't having fun anymore. You know what I mean? And sure, I can point the finger and say it was because of this, that, or the other. However, at the end of the day, I'm mature enough to know that from an accountability standpoint, having fun, it could have been a disaster from a leadership standpoint, but at the same time, I still could have found ways to have fun. And I'm going to tell you now, learn from that. Find ways to have fun. Remember when you were young, even if you are young now, you are young now. But remember when you first learned and it was just fun. It was fun. Get back to the fun. Because when you get back to the fun, you lose all of this stress and all of this negative mindset, this toxicity that it's a problem that you are creating for yourself. It's roadblocks, mental roadblocks that you've in essence built. You've got these really massive cinder blocks, stones and rocks that you've put in your mind to block you from enjoying and embracing this amazing opportunity that you've been blessed with. And you worked hard to receive that blessing. Now that you worked so hard to receive that blessing, you can't close your hands and say, it's not enough for me. Let me reverse that, because that's not what you're saying. You're saying that I'm not enough for it. I worked really hard for this blessing, but I'm not enough for that blessing. No, that ain't true. You are enough. You did the work to, let me tell you something. When you get there, the whole reason that you were there is because you did enough to get there. And when you get there, you don't stop. You keep going and going and going and going. It's hard for me because I don't like to see people who beat themselves up to the point that it's hard for them to move forward. It's hard for them to talk. They're really genuinely broken down. And so I know that feeling of caring so deeply, but not being able to help them, not knowing how to help them, not knowing what to say to bring them out of a pit. But here's what I'll tell you. The best thing you can do, first and foremost, is listen. Listen without judgment. Listen without having anything to say. Just be that absorbing soundboard. Let them say what they have to say. Let them communicate their emotions. What you might find is that they may not be ready to talk because they may not know how to communicate what it is that they're feeling in that time or what it is that they're going through. However, if you start to just listen on different times when they're talking, pay attention to their body language. Some of the questions that I've used is, well, hey, tell me what you're feeling. Like, what are you going through right now? How do you think things went? Help me understand so I can see things through your eyes. So at least I kind of know, you know what I mean, how you feel or what your thoughts are or whatever. The goal for me at that point is I really want to understand what they're going through. I do. I want to understand what they're going through. I want to know what they're feeling. Because sometimes, or rather, let me back up. At least as an athlete, if I've ever been in that, then I can relate to that feeling. As a professional in corporate America, I can relate to the feeling. I had a peer tell me one time that one of our bosses had pulled him aside and given him some feedback that was so tough, like it brought him to tears. And he said that he had to leave, step out, hop in his car, drive away, go to a park, and he parked in the parking lot there, and he was just in tears, just bawling. And he said he spent that time doing that, and then he shook it off. He came back to work, and he was on fire after that. I mean, the dude was crazy. I was like, wow, what happened? I don't know what happened to him. His performance in his area just took off. Like, wow, dude, what are you doing over there? Man, you're on fire. And then that's when he told me what happened. And so even as guys, tough guys, I'm like, I don't want to cry. That's bullcrap. We're all human. You have tear ducts for a reason. They're not there because you can't cry. Don't let society or social media or whoever tell you that you can't cry. You have emotions and you have to process those emotions. I'm bad at it too. In terms of processing my emotions, I think I constantly work on it, just kind of being a tough knucklehead kid. That just wasn't something that I did often because of everything that I went through. It was always sort of fight or flight. So I chose fight when I could, but I believe in processing your emotions. I don't believe in holding on to anger, holding on to bitterness, holding on to frustration, holding on to disappointment. I'm creating these fears and things inside of your mind that are limitations, right? They reveal themselves as limitations to you, and now they become blockages where you can't go forward. So what I would say to you is definitely try to understand and give them space. Give them space to go through their own emotions, because sometimes when you ask that question, they may not be in a place where they're even ready to talk. They may not even be ready to talk at all. They may not even be ready to talk. They may not be ready to say anything, but what they will appreciate is you are there. So unless they tell you, hey, can you just not right now? Just, I just want to be alone right now. I'll give you a call or I'll talk to you or whatever, give them the time and the space that they need to process their own thoughts, so that when you are looking to understand, they're able to actually communicate what it is that, you need to hear, so that you yourself can process how you can help them or how you can be of support. The ultimate goal is we want to support them, and we want them to see what everybody else sees in them, which is greatness, which is great. The crazy thing about greatness is it looks so different for everybody. It looks so different for everybody. It's even as a coach, let me tell you, I had a kid this kid beat himself up. He was flat-footed. He wasn't the fastest kid. He wasn't the biggest kid. He wasn't the most skilled kid. His technique was terrible. He had the heart of a lion. He would sell out every play. This kid was intellectually gifted. He would be in the right place at the right time. He had the ability to read the offense like none of the linebackers, like nobody else on the defense, and he was a cornerback. This dude would somehow, he would cover his man, read the quarterback. This flat-footed little turtle boy would get his butt over there, and somehow he come down with the ball. I loved him. I loved him. I loved him. I didn't know how he did it. It was the most amazing thing to me. He broke his foot. Broke his foot. No. Broke his ankle. Okay. Check this out though. He broke his ankle. He went up for an interception, came down, took the first blow, spun out of it, took off, and literally he wasn't the fastest kid. So even though he's running he got the pick, he's going for the 6. It was like all 11 hit him. It was like all 11 hit him hard. But he tried to spin and shake, and he was doing everything that he can. It was in slow motion. But out of that, he messed up his ankle. There's a picture out. It might be online. I don't know. You see me and another coach. We're there with him in the hospital. I went to the hospital. You know what I mean? I support my guys. I support them. I'm here. I'm there. Mom, what do you need? Tell me what you need. Pops, tell me what you need. I know your son, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of him. We're going to get him what he needs. Get him the best doctors. Everything. This kid put it all on the line. He was a great athlete. He was not what we were used to at all. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the biggest. He was definitely not the strongest at all. He didn't have the shake 'em and bake 'em. He didn't have the moves. He wasn't jukey out there. None of that stuff. But he was smart. He was in the right place at the right time. He was disciplined. He always did his assignment. He never let anybody get behind him when it was time for nobody to get behind him. In cover 2, he was always where he was supposed to be. If we were running a cloud, he was always where he was supposed to be. If we blitzed the quarterback, he knew when to creep. He would creep. If we were blitzing the quarterback, he knew when to creep. He crept just enough time to make sure he was there. He was sacking this dude was slow and still sacking the quarterback. Still sacking the quarterback on the corner blitz. It was crazy. We loved this dude. I would say it all the time. We would have our coaches, our pregame meal, and be sitting with the coaches, and we would go and we would have dinner sometimes afterwards and watch film, or have it brought in and watch film, or we would meet up with the team on Saturdays and stuff. And we would just go, I would be like, you know what, man, this is just remarkable to me. This dude is insanely talented. Like he's not anything that we expect for him or somebody in his position to be. But he's consistent. He's consistent. That's my starter. That's my guy. And there are guys there who have everything that, we're talking about: the speed, the skill, the technique, all of that stuff. However, they didn't have those things that he had. They didn't know how to read the defense. They didn't know how to read a quarterback the way he did. They didn't know how to read a play. They didn't know how to time it the way he did. How he could get up on the other side of the field. When you look at everybody's legs running, and then you look at his legs are running as slow as the offensive lineman in some cases, but he's still somehow ending up over there jumping high enough to get the dang ball before the receiver catches it and come down with the ball. So we would have all these turnovers just because he's getting up in the air, snatching the ball before the receiver has the opportunity to get it. It was amazing. But greatness looks different to everybody. I've seen that with a young lady when my daughter was playing club. It was years ago. This girl, it was when she was younger, and I would talk to her dad all the time. Her dad was the funniest. This dude was amazing, man. He was so funny. He kept me rolling all the time. He was great energy. Even when things were going really, really bad, he would just be on fire. His energy would be up. And half the time, it was crazy. Half the time, he didn't even know what was going on. Half the time, he didn't even know what was going on. But, his timing was impeccable. But his daughter she was talented for another sport. She was not talent. She was not soccer talent, right? She was not soccer talent. However, she used the tools that she had to make great things happen, to create opportunities for the offense to score. And so she would get the ball to the forwards and put them in a position to score. And it was almost like every time they would score. It was amazing. However, if you were to have a conversation with her to ask her about the positions on the field or what it is that she's supposed to do, she would not know. What she did know is that when she got the ball, she was going to get it to the girls so they could score. And that's exactly what she did. That was awesome to me. Because at the end of the day, for that coach wants to win that game. Sure, his job is to teach them, and hopefully at some point he's actually teaching her. I don't know that he did, because eventually she left and went to another team where she did end up, learning. However, in her other sport, like I said, she was gifted. She was playing soccer, but she should have been playing another sport. When she finally went to that other sport, she took off. But while she was there on the field, she didn't know the game. But listen, the way she played, you would never know that this kid had no clue what was going on. You would never know. I mean, she just looked amazing. She looked like a soccer player. She was built like a soccer player. She was really, really fast and aggressive. She made things happen. She would always set the forwards, set the wingers up. And, she had a great cross. And it was just all the time. You would never know that she was technically not a real soccer player by definition, or at least if you compared her to the rest of the girls, but she was great. She was great. It just looked different than everybody else. There was nobody that could argue that this was not a great athlete out there doing some amazing things. Greatness looks different. And so to the person who's going through it, sometimes we have to help them see that, yeah, the way you are measuring or the way you're grading yourself or what you're measuring yourself against may not be accurate. You might be sort of grading yourself or lining yourself up, assessing yourself against something that does not fit your makeup. It does not fit your style of play. It does not even match the type of things that you've done. You are an original. You are very different than all of these athletes over here. You're very different than all these athletes over here. You are legitimately in a class by yourself. And that is what makes you special. And there's nothing at all wrong with that. Some of the greatest athletes to ever touch the surface, the platform, the stage, whatever it is, were in a class by themselves. Sometimes they were before their times. And that is beautiful. That is humongous. And that is what makes you special. Look at the things that you've done. We have to understand. We have to remind them. Validation. As a kid, I can't tell you how many kids that I've come across that I've coached where I learned that the parents, because the parents didn't have an athletic background, the way that they deal with their kids in the present is totally inconsistent with what a parent who is probably have an athletic background. Now here's the deal, right? Let me back up there, because I don't want you to come at me on this one. That works two ways, because there are some athlete parents who get out there and now they want to relive their athletic lives through their kids. Get the heck out of here. You had your time. You did what you did. It's great to share stories. Share stories. Put them in their proper context so that kid knows that the purpose of you sharing this story is to elevate them, not to elevate you. It's not about elevating you. You had your time. Great. I want everybody to make sure your kids should see you as you were a sports god. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm cool with that. However, at the same time, though, don't overshadow them by outshining them when you're discussing your past with them. Use your past to help them problem solve issues that they're going through. Use your past to help them get through things that they really don't understand, or something that's a challenge that they have to overcome and it's new to them in a new environment. It's a new dealing with a coach, whatever the case. Help them in that way. Don't help them by outshining them or making them feel little to make yourself feel big. That is trashy. Don't even do that. And I'm being real with you on that one right there. When I explain stuff to my kids, I explain it to them because I want them to grow. I want them to grow. That period. I want you to grow. I want you to get better. Here's how I did it. I'm not going to tell you how you should do it. I'm going to tell you how I did it. And from that, you can take some pointers. And if it works for you, then that's great. You know what I mean? At the same time, though, listen, people do have distorted thought processes. It's just like that that kid who the coach comes up and the coach is emotional during the game and no, you got to go here. You got to back up. Why aren't you doing this, that, or the other? And they don't realize that just as emotional as they are, so is the coach. The coach is just as emotional as they are. So if they're on the field emotional, so is the coach. Now, the tough part is when you have that kid who takes that emotion and they personalize it. It's not personal. It's not personal. Even if you get pulled out because you made a mistake, it's not personal. Go back in the car once that kid has cleaned up their face and they've gotten past it. Help them understand it's not personal. The coach has to put the best person on the field, number one. That person that they put on the field, they have to be able to trust that person, when they get on the field, they're going to make the best decision to put the team in a place where they can score or to give them an opportunity. The name of the game is to set the team up for success. Set your peers up, your teammates up for success. If they rely on you to execute this part of the play, your role, your responsibility, you have to defend this person, you got to cover this person, you got to move in this direction, you got to cut to the inside, you got to pass the ball, you got to do this, that, or the other, but you don't do it, you decide to hot dog it, they can't trust you. If you don't do it, you decide to take a down off, you give up, you check out, whatever. Yeah, they got to pull you out. Right? That's not like, hey, it's a personal attack on you. It is, as a coach, what I see is that you are not in tune with the rest of the players. You're not in tune with the playbook. You're not in tune with the game plan. I got to pull you out. This is chess. It's not checkers. If you just went down, we can't use you. You're no longer effective. I got to pull you out, help you to sort of get back in gear, right? I got to get you back into the game. Once I pull you out, give you a breather, get you back into the game, then guess what? Now I can get you focused. Now I can get you focused and then I can put you back in. But when pulling you out, if you go so deep into the dumps because you took it personal that I pulled you out and now I can't bring you back up, I can't even put you back in because you have taken this as a personal attack. And it's not about you. It's about the team. It's about everybody. It's not just about you, but people don't realize that sometimes. Sometimes players do go out there and they think that it is a personal attack on them. It is not a personal attack on you. And if you're the coach, you're the mentor, you're the trainer, you're the athletic trainer, you're the athletic director, whoever, you're the parent, you're the uncle, you're the aunt, you're the grandparent, it's okay to have the conversation with them to help them see that this is not personal. Let me tell you something though. I had a coach one time, defense coordinator when I was in college. All right. When I first got to the university. And so the DB coach wanted me to work with him on a drill. The defensive coordinator wanted me to work over with the D lineman in the second level on something over there. Now, with the DBs, we're doing this zigzag drill. We're working on it. So I go, Coach so-and-so just called me over there to my cornerback coach. My cornerback coach looks at me and goes, so are you a lineman or a linebacker? I said, no. He's like, okay, what position you play? I said, I play corner. He said, okay, so I guess you're not going over there. Finish the drill. So I go finish the drill. The defense coordinator, his tone has changed. And the reason he's calling me is because at the time, I think we were getting ready to play against Tennessee. And they had a wide receiver who ran like a 10-2, 100 meters. Who else do we have on our team that's running fast like that? It was me. So he's like, no, I need somebody over here. Our scout team, we had fast guys, but we didn't have no guys like that. So he was like, no, I need you to do this because, you know what I mean? This is the kind of speed that we're going to be matched against. I need you to come over there. So that was the defensive coordinator's mindset. So he's calling me. I'm like, man, coach, I got to go, man. He's calling me. You know what I mean? And he's like, you go over there. Don't come. You're not coming back. Don't even bother coming back. So I'm kind of like, what? Like, Now you got me, you know what I mean? I don't know what's happening between the two of you, but it's got me caught in the middle. So now the defensive, this is when you hear this. And now you'll understand why I say help them understand the difference between personal. The defensive coordinator says, get your effing black over here. Your mama, pop, 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 pop. Now, I know how old school coaches go. I understand how old coaches go. I tell my kids all the time when I was at the junior college, my coach, my head coach, I loved him to death. My head coach, I loved him to death. Everybody that knows me and know that program, we know that coach, we know how he was. We all loved him. He took care of us. Big time. He took care of all of us. He took care of cats. Like, you know, I had my own place to live and I was doing fine and pretty well. But for those cats who didn't have a place to live, he got them a place to live. They didn't have money or food to eat. He made sure that they ate. They didn't have transportation. He made sure that they had transportation. He took care of them. So we went and we went to war for him on the field. Listen, you don't get 14 championships in a row by not taking care of your players. He took care of us, you know. So the name that he had for me all the time was Effer. Where you going, Effer? You dumb Effer. Come here, Effer. I was a young kid. At first, when I first heard it, I did take it personal because I'm like, dude, like, why are you calling me that? Like, it's embarrassing, you know? But the more I got to know him and his personality and who he was, let me tell you something. If he didn't call me that, I would be worried. That's when I was worried. If he wasn't calling me that, you know. So, you know, he loved me to death. He took care of me. I'll tell the story one day of our introduction. It was a very interesting introduction and how I ended up there, but it was probably one of the best decisions that I had ever made. I love him. I miss him. May rest in peace. He was a phenomenal coach. Amazing guy, extremely well known, very much tapped into the community. So many guys. Oh man, just an amazing guy. Just an amazing guy. You know, I learned so much from him. However, now I'm at the Division I level, and this coach, this defense, now that was my head coach I was just telling you about. This defensive coordinator, you know, he went in talking about my mother in a way that in the streets you would pound someone. I mean, you would absolutely pound someone for how they were, you know, it was. I sat there like. I was speechless. I couldn't believe it. Everybody stopped on the field. Everybody sitting there like, what the heck? I mean, he was going in. He was saying things, calling me things, calling my mom. He didn't even know my mom. So yeah, maturity would say, dude, you don't even know my mom. Look, yeah, get out of here. But I was still a kid. I'm still young. And this is what you're doing. I was like, what kind of, you know, that it was a legitimate personal attack, and it destroyed our relationships. And from that moment on, every time I came to mind for him, or I was in a my name came up in a conversation, he would badmouth me. He would trash talk me. He would say negative things about me. He would lie on me. It was crazy. So he had a deliberate personal attack, and he stuck with that personal attack until he was fired. And I would not doubt that he kept going afterwards, because when the new coaches came in, they didn't meet with us first. They chopped it up with them first. So when I first the very first time I sat down with the new defensive coordinator, everything he said that he knew about me was everything that they said. He didn't even want to give me a chance, you know, to hear what I had to say. He even laughed at me when I tried to say, you know, you realize you're getting this information from a coach who was fired for these reasons, and you're embracing this as real. You really believe I came from a championship program. I was a starter at a championship program. You really believe I came after all of this work? I came here for that. And you believe that that is the reputation that I came in with, and the reputation that I had all the way up until that moment? No, that's not the reputation that I had. And I'm going to tell you something. I was so upset that when I did go over there to help them, I worked the heck out of that defense. Right. And I was on defense, but the DBs, we were separate. So I came over there. I made sure, since you want me to be a receiver, that's cool. I made sure that there was no way possible that the second line, and they had a strong safety and everybody over there was no way in the world you were ever going to touch me. I'm going to catch the ball and I'm going to score every single time. And that's exactly what I did. And then it got to a point where he was frustrated because now I'm doing that. And guess what happened? He wanted me to stop. He wanted me to slow down. He wanted me to wait. Oh, that's not how they're going to run it. They're going to run it this way. They're going to run it that way. Okay, cool. I'll run it every way you say. You still not going to catch me. I'm still going to catch the ball and I'm still going to score. And the sad part about that is out of his anger, bitterness, frustration, and his personal attack on me, guess what happened? We ended up playing Tennessee and they did exactly what I did. That receiver did exactly to us what I did at practice. Right? But we could have leveraged everything that I was doing to make us great. That is a personal attack. What he did was a personal attack. I was coaching at a private school. And I was working with a coach who was a very old school coach. He hadn't coached since the 60s. And he was trying to sort of rally the troops and get everybody fired up. And he had a bunch of freshmen. Okay, now these freshmen, I'm talking, these guys are freshmen in high school. They're just coming out of middle school. They don't understand how high school football works, you know. But the way the field is set up, you have the freshmen practicing in one area of the field. You have the JV and varsity practicing. And so they're all like on this really huge field. Well, there was periods where everybody kind of came together. But the freshmen would start their practice first. Now, the freshman's actually getting done with their practice. And so he's bringing them up to rally them together. And while he's doing that, he's getting pumped and pumped and pumped. These are little kids. They don't know what you're doing. They're not varsity players. They don't understand Friday Night Lights the way, you know what I mean, the varsity players do, or even the way the JV players do. He gets upset because they're not rah-rahing the way he expects them to do, the way that, you know, like the varsity. They're kind of like, yes, coach, you know. So what does he do? He literally grabs one of the players by the mask and he starts he is wailing on this player. And apparently that was an old school tactic in the 60s or 70s that I never heard of, but it probably was. I mean, they used to do clotheslining and stuff like that, right? He's wailing. Now, mind you, I had been filming that freshman practice for the freshman, you know, coaches or whatever. So I'm on top of this roof with the camera because this private school, they didn't have lift and all that stuff. So I'm on top of this roof with a camera filming. I'm literally getting this whole thing on film. Because I turned while they were doing the rah-rah. I figured, these guys later, they can use it as part of the highlight, and he's getting them pumped. And then right, you know, as I'm sitting there watching, I see him throw the first blow, and I freak out like, oh, I call out to him. I'm like, dude, you can't do that. You can't do that. What are you doing? Don't hit that kid. What are you doing? He wails. I jump off the roof like a superhero. I just jump off the roof. I land on the grass, roll in mud, everything. I take off because all the coaches are standing around. They have no clue what to do. I've been coaching for a while and mentoring and working with kids and stuff for a while. And I know that this is absolutely not okay. There's parents off to the side. It's a private school. They don't know. They didn't play football. These moms didn't play football. They're thinking, okay, why are you hitting these kids? But what do we do? I jet. It was probably maybe like 40 to 50 kids out there. They see me coming. I run through, make a way. I grab this coach with two arms and lock him up, and I'm dragging him out of there. He is literally kicking and screaming, trying to get to this kid, and this kid didn't do anything at all to deserve this personal attack. This is a physical personal attack. He didn't do anything at all for this. I had to write letters to the archdiocese regarding the incident and other incidents where like things started to connect for me. And then the guy personally attacked me. And it was a little bit it was strange too. It was really strange. But the guy, you know, he personally attacked me, and then his son went to validate him personally attacking me. and which was really strange because of his son's job. I was like, really, you know? But hey, I was an adult. I was grown. I could handle it. I didn't want, and I didn't feel like the kids should be exposed to that, and n- no kid should be personally attacked. Sadly, there are kids, people, um, athletes, professionals who feel like they are being personally attacked, not physically, mentally, emotionally. Maybe their performance is not satisfactory in their eyes. It doesn't mean it's not satisfactory in someone else's eyes. It's not satisfactory in their eyes. And so in their mind, they really beat themselves up. I mean, they really, really beat themselves up, and they are terrorizing themselves because they feel like they didn't achieve this, high level goal that they've set for themselves that is absolutely unreal, unattainable. There's no way on this earth that they're going to reach that, especially if it's something that requires time and position. If it requires tenure, it requires you to have gone through all these steps, gone through all these lessons in order for you to learn and be well equipped enough to actually achieve that goal, come close to that goal. There are certain things that you have to do in order to get to that place. But in their mind, I should already be there. No, that's not true. That's not true. And so we have to help them understand that. How do we help them understand that? Let's go through and break down. Okay, let's talk about where you are right now. Let's talk about where you are, because there's a process to getting to that level, right? And so if you feel right now that you are supposed to be at that level, why aren't you at that level? I'm going to tell you why you're not at that level, because you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and you're in the place where you're supposed to be. Here's the crazy part, right? And I just told somebody this. In order to become great, you have to make a mistake. In order to become great, you have to make a mistake. Why? How will you know the other side if you don't make mistakes along the way? Have you ever baked a cake? You put it inside the oven, and then you close it. You did everything right. You come to check on it, and then you let go of the thing. Boom! It slams the door. The cake goes. If you never did that, you would never know that happens. You might read about it. You might hear about it, but have you ever seen that actually happen? When you experience it, you know, okay, no. This is deeply embedded. I know not to do this. I know next time to do it this way. I know next time to do it that way, right? Sometimes you have to experience some stuff to know that that is not the way. That's just how it is. You know what I mean? People, you have to go through it. You got to make mistakes to become great. You got to make mistakes to become great. That's part of the process. Some of the greatest players of all times made mistakes. Greatest players of all times made mistakes. Went up to the free throw line, bang, brick. Didn't make it. Every fan, every coach, everybody is expecting that pro to go to the free throw line and make it. Didn't make it. Go up for a dunk. Bank it off the rim. What in the world? You are 6'10". All you have to do is raise your hand and you can dunk. Don't dunk, right? Ball goes flying down court. Other team gets it, go up, lay up, 2 points. Hey, it happens. I told my daughter this. Just because you get a bad grade on one test, it doesn't mean you failed the class. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean that you're not going to pass every single test after that. It doesn't mean you're going to flunk out of college, right? It just means that maybe you weren't accurately or properly prepared for that particular test. You studied all the stuff, but at some point the professor decided, you know what, I'm not going to make this test off the book. I'm going to do it off the notes. Or I'm not going to do it based off the notes. I'm going to do it off the book. But when you went through review, you went through review off the notes, and he did the test off of the book. When you went through review, he did the test off. At first he was going to do the test off of the review, but then at the last minute he decided to do it off the book. But he told you that the test was going to be off of the review. When you get in there, you realize this is not what we went through, at least in terms of how he taught it. the way the message and the information was communicated, and the way you took notes was according to how you went through the review and the note taking over the last 2, 3, 4 weeks prior to that test or midterm or whatever. Okay, cool. You did what you had to do. The beautiful thing is you can go into the office and say, yeah, Professor so-and-so, I need to have a conversation with you because you said that the test was going to be off of the review, but it turns out that the test was off of the book. Oh yeah, I just decided to go a different direction. I figured, everybody should have been reading the book anyway, not just going off of the review. But you said it was off the review. Let me tell you, when my daughter was in high school, there was a period where there was one of her teachers who gave her a B on a test that she studied for. She knew all types of things. And I told her, and she disagreed with it. And I told her, listen, get your brother to go with you. And you go in there and I want you to plead your case, right? I want you to take your case to him and I want you to fight for your A in there with him. You tell him why you think you deserve an A and why you think he did not grade these papers accordingly, properly, and how the test was supposed to be off of this and how he changed the direction of it. And you should not be receiving a bad grade because he decided at the last minute to go in this direction, which is in opposition to what he originally stated. And that he should be grading it according to what his original statement was because that was the last thing that he communicated to the class. She went and did it. And when she went and did it, she came back. I said, what happened? She said, he gave me my A. That's what we want. That's what we want. Now look, had she not gone through that, she would have never known going forward. Sometimes when you sit down with the teacher or the professor, they actually listen. And it's to your advantage to actually do that. Sometimes it's good to sit down and talk to the coach to say, hey, coach, check this out. Here's what I feel about my performance in the direction that I'm going. But I want to know, how does that align with where we're going in terms of the game plan, the strategy, or where you see that I fit into the offense or defense, or where we're headed in terms of this, in terms of, getting to conference, going to NCAAs, or whatever the case may be. Talking to your boss and talking about how you've been working on this project and working on that project. You notice that you've been doing a lot of projects. Is that something that's been, for your development, or is the goal for you to take on this market, or are we going to be shifting into some alignment or whatever corporately? There's so many different things that you can do. It's not just you're not good enough, you're not cutting it, you're not making it. No, things change. People's mindsets are in a different place. Your coaches might be thinking one thing and you're in a totally different dark place. Your boss may be thinking something, you're in a totally different dark place. It's not always personal. It's not. It's not personal. It is easy for me to say, don't take it personal. It is very hard for some people to not take it personal. And I realize that. But I pray that you will arm yourself with patience. Arm yourself with patience. While you watch your loved one, you watch your child, you watch your spouse, your best friend, whoever beat themselves up, and you want to do everything you can to change that for them. I pray you will have patience. It hurts. It does. It hurts to watch someone you care about, someone you love, tear themselves down with something that's not real. You know what I mean? This is not a personal attack. You are contributing. You are worthy. You are enough. You are great. You are this, that, or the other. But they can't see it. It's so hard to watch them suffer. But be there to listen. Don't allow them to suffer in silence. Don't. Remind them of who they are. Remind them. Always remind them. Keep telling them, you're great, you're great, you're great, you're great, you're great. You're the bomb. You are the shiznittle bam snip snap. Whatever it is that you have to do, get them out of the funk. Get them into the energy. Get them into that place of enthusiasm. Get them wherever it is that they need to be to light that fire up under them and help them to stay there. I know that I'm telling you this, I'm saying this, and I realize it is a burden. It is a heavy, heavy, heavy burden. But if you will just have a little patience and stay the course. Now, I'm talking to people who are on the outside looking in, but I'm also talking to people who are going through it, because you want to have a circle of people or support system that you can, of individuals, a circle of individuals that you can trust as your support system. That's what you want to have. And you don't want to beat them down. You don't. You want to be flexible with them because remember, they got your back. They are there for you. They want to see you succeed. They want to see you grow. They want to see you be the next big whatever it is. They want that for you. And it hurts them to see you beat yourself down. It does. It really does. I can tell you, whether it's somebody I'm coaching, somebody I'm mentoring, if it's my kids, if it's a family member, if it's a friend, if it's a colleague, whoever, when I see them beating themselves down and I'm sitting back like, man, you don't have to beat yourself down. You know what I mean? This too shall pass. This is temporary. Or that's not real. What you're creating, that's not real. Nobody's looking down upon you. Nobody's saying these negative things about you. I haven't heard a negative word about you. All I hear is positive stuff. All I hear is people motivated about the things that you're doing and about your future, and they're excited about the direction that you're going. They just want to hang on to your coattail and be a part of it. You know what I mean? They just want to be there to uplift you, to support you, and all these things. And they're not there looking at you. I didn't hear the coach say anything bad about you whatsoever. I never heard the coach say anything bad about you. Just because they're coaching you up on the sideline or saying something to you on the sideline, that doesn't mean it's negative. They're in the game just like you are in the game. The difference is their job is to coach, not to be out there on the field playing. Your job is to be out there on the field playing, listening to them coach and responding and reacting to the coaching that they're giving. And that's what that's all about. It's not a personal attack because they called you while you were out there and you didn't hear them call that person, that person, that person. They called your name. They called your name probably because you're closest to them, or they might even call your name to tell you something, but for also for you to relay it to somebody else. Maybe the person who has playing the same position on the other side of the field or the other side of the court or the other side of the platform, whatever it is. But if you process it incorrectly through distortion and you beat yourself up, it's going to be very hard to actually sit back and realize, dang, that was never a personal attack on me at all. And then 2 days later, after you've spent 24 hours with these extremely high stress levels because you've been worried that, dang, my job is on the line, or I'm going to get cut, or I'm going to get benched. I ain't going to get no playing time. I don't feel like I belong on this team. I'm not good enough. Those are lies. Lies. Big fat lies. Stop telling yourself lies, 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 lies. Stop telling yourself these lies. Because that's all they are. They're lies. They're lies. Here's what I'll tell you. If you signed the contract that got you there, somebody gave you that contract. They were the ones who gave you the contract because they believed you deserved to be there. They wanted you there. Regardless of how the stars aligned to get you there, you're there. Embrace that, man. That's major. That's a huge, huge, huge accomplishment. They gave the stars aligned to get you there. You're there. Regardless of how you got there, it doesn't matter. You are there. Take advantage. Take advantage of the opportunity. It is huge. It is meant to be. You are there. It is wonderful. It is the golden opportunity. It is everything that you worked for. Everything you worked for. I believe in you. I believe in you. Listen to me. I believe in you. You deserve to be where you are. You deserve to be where you are. You worked hard to get there. Now embrace it. Take this opportunity and run with it. Do with it what you will. What you should do is elevate at every level. Every single level you go out there and you elevate. You do what you got to do to elevate. You elevate. 360-degree elevation, baby. That's the call. That's the call. I probably shouldn't do this on the mic. That's the call. 360-degree elevation. Who's with me? 360-degree elevation. All aspects of life, right? If you're on the field, 360-degree elevation. My speed, my tenacity, my intensity, my skill level. everything that I have to do, my focus, my field vision, whatever it is, 360-degree elevation. In the classroom, my work ethic, in the gym, 360-degree elevation. 360-degree elevation. That's what it's all about. I'm at work, 360-degree elevation. I'm on a project. I'm managing projects. I'm managing the team. I'm developing talent. I'm managing talent. I'm doing the performance management piece, right? 360-degree elevation. If you're on your team, elevate your team. If you have teammates, elevate your team. Elevate your coaches. Elevate your boss. Elevate everybody. Elevate the family. 360-degree elevation in all aspects of life. I'm TP, and we out. Peace.